categories. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball.
Brought to you by Avantcard, powered by MasterCard.
This is News Talk.
Hello there, you're welcome along to Tuesday Nights Off the Ball. You're very welcome. So really happy to say and excited to say we'll have Tommy Welch and Sean O'Halpine on the radio together tonight, going through pretty much the most bitter of rivalries, Cork-Kilkenny at the turn of the century, all ahead of Cork-Kilkenny this Sunday. They did not like each other, is the short version. We would not have got these two on the radio together 10 years ago, but they're on tonight. Luke Jensen will talk to us about Coco Gauff. He assures us that tennis has found its next dominant force, and she will be that dominant force. And Tim Vickery is here on the end for Neymar at PSG, it seems, and a Copa America win for Brazil on Brazilian soil. 53106 is the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. We have Kieran Cunningham from the Irish Daily Star with us in studio. Hello.
How are you?
Very well. And Richie McCormack as ever.
Hey Joe, there was an interesting thing about, you talk about Gauff and you talk about Luke Jensen talking about her potential dominance in the sport. There was a Times article up today which was saying that people's search for the next big thing in women's tennis in particular is probably a little bit misguided, that the actual tennis itself is the star at the moment. It's this mad maelstrom of everybody being able to beat everybody, and we should just enjoy that for what it is rather than, because the next thing we know is someone's dominating the sport for 7-8 years and we're like, oh Jesus Christ, such and such is winning again.
Yeah.
Who could deal with that?
We're never happy.
No, particularly me.
I suppose one of the issues with the women's game in particular at the moment is that it does feel like Serena and the rest, and most people wouldn't be overly familiar with the personalities of the rest unless they're hardcore tennis fans.
Well, that's going to be true of any sport. Like,
do you not feel though, like even say the men's tennis is a direct comparison, the big four, at least we had a big four, whereas in the women's game it just sort of felt like Serena and the rest.
But it's the big three in the rest now with men's tennis. We're just lucky that there's 2 or 3 more of them.
3 is more interesting than just 1.
But like what do people know about the Alexander Zverevs or the Dominic Thiems or the Milos Raonics of this world?
Not much.
Very little. And
does it get anything like the TV audience it's used to get, like Wimbledon?
Anything on BBC
But nothing does. Yeah, but nothing does, obviously, compared to the past. But in relative terms, does it?
It'd do very favourable. Like the numbers, especially if Murray was playing or if Conte had been playing, say, this evening past 7 o'clock on BBC One, they would have done okay.
I've been watching a bit of Today at Wimbledon the last week or so. Very good programme.
Very well put together, isn't it?
Oh, goodness. It's the BBC at their best.
Yeah, it's Balding's just perfect environment. She's made for that.
Yeah.
Bit of happy bonhomie, bit of factual, here's what happened.
Yeah.
And just a pro.
They've lots of different reporters going out following certain themes for the day. Like there was a report the other day about how tall a lot of the players are now. And so he zipped around different courts and and what about this fella? 6'8", lost to 6'7", boo, boo. And it was just brilliant. And then you've got the likes of like McEnroe, such a brilliant broadcaster. Pat Cash is still great. Looks unbelievable.
It's freakish how well Pat Cash looks.
And a few others besides. And I haven't seen Martina Navratilova.
She's been there. She's been doing a lot of live commentary actually with Martina.
Yeah, but so you've got it all just works, and it's a big unwieldy thing to try and cover in an hour.
Yeah, but that's always been one of their great strengths, how they do highlight programs, BBC. Like from obviously Match of the Day, but the way they did rugby back in the day and highlights of cricket or Olympics, the way they package things that. They're kind of a mixture of magazine program stroke highlights. Yeah. So rather than, like a lot of people, obviously, if you're working or whatever, you don't have time to sit around and watch Wimbledon all day like Richie. But you like your Today at Wimbledon.
They can be a good introduction. It was something I mentioned when Pat was on with us. Pat Nevin was on with us last week talking about the Women's World Cup. We were talking about how they were trying to spread that sport, and it kind of had certain parallels with the way they tried to spread soccer in the United States to begin with in like the mid to late 70s with the NASL at the time. And initially the TV deal that they wanted was to throw it into the wide world of sports and CBS I think was, and have it as highlights within a larger like grandstand type program, because that was how people would get familiar with it. And they knew it'd die a death if they threw full live matches on and expected people to sit through 90 minutes of something that they weren't familiar with and something that's quite slow paced and not very high scoring. And ultimately that's what happened, is that people were watching it going, well, this isn't very good.
I still miss Sports Night. Do you remember Sports Night?
Sports Night was class. Amazing.
Do you remember Sports Night? No. It was it only on one night a week or a couple of nights a week? One night a week. But it would be a mixture, like it might be a bit of soccer, a bit of rugby, athletics, tennis, on a normally Wednesday night, like if there was midweek games, like there was a bit of, and it would be a mixture of everything.
Instead of like a midweek match of the day, that's what you'd have, but they'd like mix it in with other stuff, and that's how I got the Cantona Kung Fu kick against Palace. I saw that in Sports Night.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people did. Yeah,
having first heard about it, my dad came in and told me that Cantona has left the hoarding at Sellers Park and
was
it's gone mad.
Live on Sky, wasn't it?
Well, I think. Oh no, I don't think it was. No.
Yeah, because that would have been the first time people saw it. Then because it would have been in radio. There would have been radio commentary, but that would have been the first.
When he said the importance of newspapers the next day, there, huh?
When he said he went mad, when he said he went mad and left the hoarding, there used to be kind of a mural. One of the stands was being built at Sellers Park. I just presume Cantona had lost it entirely and decided to hop over the big railing at the end of the pitch and go. Thankfully, he just kicked a supporter, which is far less,
What did he say again? Can you remember? Off you go, Mr. Cantona. It's an early bath for you. That's what he claimed to have said.
Into the showers for you, Eric Cantona.
I think he was on GMTV the next morning, or at least that week.
Wasn't it Matthew Simmons or something?
Matthew Simmons,
Matthew Simmons.
Yeah.
Well,
how do I remember that? And I can't remember where I did last week.
Well, I know we're all guilty of that. Today at Wimbledon, nice cup of tea in the evening. Highly recommended. Very nice. Kilkenny.
Dark chocolate ginger biscuits with your cup of tea. Have you ever had that? They're lovely.
No.
Where'd you get them? Tesco. Dark chocolate ginger biscuits. Yeah.
Is it a ginger nut or is it kind of like
Nadal Federer of chocolate biscuits? Huh?
I had some strawberries watching it last night as well, just to get in the mood. There you go. Kilkenny Cork. You would have been on the beat when this lot hated each other. Like proper hatred. This is not one of those rivalries where it was all grand afterwards once we left it on the pitch.
No, remember the Stepford Wives stuff? Well, that was vicious because actually I think Tommy talked about this before, that he heard somebody said to me, Donald Ogus described your Stepford Wives, and he's going, what does that mean? Like, a lot of people mightn't have got the reference. I think more since the film was remade and it's been shown on TV, etc. I think people are more familiar with what was meant, but they were very different because Cody, even now, like there was a launch of the All-Ireland series of the hurling championship today, and the only county didn't have a player there was Kilkenny.
Right.
And that Cody has always been that. Like Jim Gavin didn't. I think he copied a lot of his approach from Brian Cody. Whereas that Cork team were very public and very charismatic.
Very much.
You know, so they were very different in all sorts of aspects.
They obviously stopped each other at crucial junctures. Kilkenny were going for 3 in a row in 2004, and then Cork stopped them.
Yeah.
And then Cork were going for 3 in a row, and Kilkenny stopped them in 2006, and then they went their separate ways. That was kind of the end of it. Although there was a league game in 2009 where Kilkenny beat Cork just fresh from their third strike by 27 points at Nolan Park. As Jackie Tyrrell said in his autobiography, there was a genuine disdain for Cork and what those players stood for. We didn't just want to beat Cork that day in the league, we wanted to trample them into the ground like dirt. Henry Shefflin, in his autobiography, Shefflin, a fairly nice
measured,
yeah. Let's just say, he says, that the red and white minstrel show that was the Cork team in the noughties never quite rocked our boat. They didn't like us, we didn't like them. Maybe we gave each other good reason. They depicted us as robotic, conformist types who couldn't locate an original thought of our own, or as Donald Logue would famously say, Stepford Wives. We saw them as having a little too much of a welcome for themselves, of being aloof, standoffish, superior. And he said, you think of those epic finals we had with Tipperary in more recent times, yet there was never any difficulty decommissioning the venom in a dressing room tunnel and unwinding together like grown men. Some of the most enjoyable nights I had at all-star functions have been in the company of those tip players that we'd gone to war with. This never seemed possible with Cork. They radiated an attitude of preferring their own company.
And there was another very important point around that rivalry. It was the Cork strikes and the GPA, because I think it was a league final, and this was I'm sure you're coming to this, but there was a socks down protest that had been planned by the GPA over whatever the issue was at the time, and Cork took part, and Kilkenny, I think 1 or 2 players, maybe Martin Comerford took part.
Well remembered, yeah.
But that went down really badly with Cork. That's the Cork team that went to strike twice over conditions and the way they were treated. So they saw these guys as the establishment who won't rock the boat.
Totally. Basically. 2002. So basically, again, Shefflin's book here has been helpful. Comerford, Charlie Carter, DJ Carey and Brian McAvoy went to this EGM. The GPA was trying to get off the ground. This was the EGM for it. And on the Friday before that league final, Cork Kilkenny, DJ was injured, Carter and McAvoy not in the starting 15. So it was Andy Comerford kind of on his own, trying to convince this Kilkenny dressing room this was the right thing to do on the Friday night before the league final, over to Henry Shefflin. As Andy began outlining the plan to us, Brian Cody stepped into the dressing room. Already you're like, oh God.
They've probably been listening at this
totally
door, ear to the keyhole.
He said, There was an edge to Cody that year. We'd been bullied by Galway the previous summer, and that memory offended just about everything he held dear. He was going to right that wrong. Just 2 months earlier, he'd culled a few big names from the panel. Cody was a one-man thunderstorm. Walks in. First things first, says Cody. No effing way or we can have any hand, act or part in this protest. Our only job Sunday is to win the game. I don't give an SH1T what anyone from outside the camp is going to do. Andy Comerford. No, we're going to do what was agreed. Not a chance, Andy. And Shefflin writes, that pretty much put an end to it. No more discussion. We looked at our shoes, hoping Andy didn't keep following the bear into the woods. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I can see the touch of Vincent Hogan there. Vincent goes to, there's a lot of Vincent's flair there, but it's
so that was the hatred.
Absolutely. But just I was thinking earlier, because I knew that you had the two guys on, and I was thinking hurling really needs that kind of rivalry now. It doesn't have it. I think whereas there's a lot of them in football, because you see the way things have been stoked up before Mayo and Kerry this weekend. Like, you have a lot of ex-Kerry players taking to social media, more or less pleading with Kerry people to go to this game. We need the support. We've been bullied 3 times in a row by Mayo. Eamon Fitzmaurice is writing in his column basically saying Mayo were the most cynical team around. And James Horne's comments from after the league final being brought up again, when he said we could have won that game by 10 or 12 points. He was just being honest because they had so many goal chances. And then, you know, Donegal and Tyrone could meet again in an All-Ireland semi-final this year, or possibly the final. That rivalry has been really stoked up. Dublin-Kerry rivalry is there, Dublin-Donegal and Dublin-Mayo. So there's a lot of rivalries in football. But you look at hurling now, is there a really strong rivalry of the teams that are left?
It seems like there's lots of teams who are of a standard as opposed to just two going at each other.
Well, see, the 90s, like Tip and Clare, like it was good Rabbit, and then Cork and Kilkenny, and then Kilkenny Tipperary more recently. But you just don't have that in the moment. I think it helps spark interest.
No, it does.
Like, there could be, hair and skin flying in Killarney this Sunday, and I don't think people will be turning off the TV if it happens.
No.
I think they'll be press and record.
Jim in Dunboyne then says, women's tennis, come on Jim, has improved immeasurably since the grunters have quietened down. Grunting in tennis, male or female, just got on my wick after a while. It was unnecessary.
The talk about it or the reality of it?
Like watching it, just non-stop.
I feel like there's questions going to be asked if you're watching it alone.
Before the watershed.
Martin the bus driver. Hi guys, I just had Andy Lee in my bus. A pure gent, a class act. That's
see,
all he
Andy
says.
gets on the bus without it being a photo opportunity like Leo Varadkar.
What did he do? What did he do on the bus that led Martin to just say a pure gent and a class act?
Like a world champion taking a bus. How many world champions take buses?
Kenny Cunningham take a bus.
Kenny Cunningham has the bus with
Is he world champion?
World champion in our eyes. I was lucky enough to grow up near the border in the 80s and always lorded it over my friends from Cork or the West Coast who were lumbered with RTE for their viewing. Silky Des Lynham, yes please, says Darren.
Harry Carpenter used to do, this is before your time, Joe, used to do today at Wimbledon as well. He used to do a lot of...
and there'd be a lot of boxing on Sports Night. Harry Carpenter would have done that. Yeah, that's right. Because you would have seen highlights for a lot of, say, McGuigan fights and that, stuff like that. And... David Coleman, obviously, that like a lot of the Coleman balls came from Sports Night.
Carpenter was the one who had the great relationship with Frank Bruno, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Come here. I really liked John Inverdale doing today at Wimbledon as well, and did the Olympic stuff. I know he had his.
Invers has had his foot and mouth moments.
Yeah, but like that just can happen.
I bloody love John.
Ah, yes, I knew you would. He's of the Barry Davies school, isn't
There's
it?
a smoothness about Invers that you can just get behind.
No, Inverdale, Kieran.
I like him, yeah.
Yeah, good.
I can't even remember what he said that was controversial. You don't have to tell me. I can Google the bloody thing. But
he was trying to talk about Conta.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
He just lost his way.
Yeah. But he
also had that terrible line about... there was a female tennis player and he was like, thank God she's good at tennis because she was never going to grow up to be a looker.
Something
like that.
No, that was
Stop ruining Invers on me, Joe.
Yeah.
Look, they were bad moments.
They were.
Very bad.
He had a great report around the 2007 game in Croke Park, the Ireland-England game. I remember he did a great package around that, a kind of mini documentary, not really a documentary, but a short report.
His 2012 Olympic stuff was just...
Was it? It would have been. Sure. I was in London, and so I could see BBC.
One where he was in tears with the rowers one day, and I just thought, God damn it, Inverdale.
I passed him at the tennis in
You're good.
I passed him at the tennis in Rio, and it was one of the few times over there I was actually started. It's like, It's Johnny Inverdale.
I'd get a picture
So
with
go
him.
over and say hello.
He's good at the rugby as well. Very good.
Well, that's how he started off. He used to do rugby special on BBC. There you go, Joe.
Right.
So I think there's about 15 different BBC sports programmes that are now extinct that we've mentioned so far.
It's not terrible. Right, we got to start this news round sooner or later. So we have our semi-final lineup in the women's at Wimbledon.
Yeah, 7-time champ Serena Williams will face the only unseeded player left in the draw, Barbara Strycova, on Thursday. Williams needed 3 sets to beat the world number 55 Alison Risk today, while Strycova was a straight sets winner over Joe Konta. 23-time Grand Slam winner Williams is playing just her 6th tournament of the year, but she says she's finally feeling something approaching her best.
You know, like I said in the beginning of this tournament, each and every match for me has to count as like 5 or 10 matches because I have not played a lot. And it's the first time since Australia that I actually felt like good. So it's been a really, really long year for me already and hard year because I'm usually not typically injured. I don't know where I am. I do know I feel good, and that's now that I feel good, I can actually focus on training and technique and practice, something that I just literally haven't been able to do a lot of.
The other semi-final will pit Simona Halep against Alina Svitolina. Halep breezed past China's Zhang Shuai to reach just a second ever Wimbledon semi, while Svitolina beat Karolina Mukova 7-5, 6-4. Having consistently struggled on grass over the year, Halep is now feeling more confident on the surface.
I started to feel more comfortable on the court. I didn't slide at all this tournament. Hope I will be the same in the next match. It's a little bit dangerous when you play on grass because the feet are not really stable as you are on hard court or clay court. So that's why I prefer those surfaces. But now I started to feel it, to have it in my hands, to have it in my legs, and also in my mind, which is very important.
Serena's also in mixed doubles action at the moment, playing alongside Annie Murray, of course. They took the first set of their match against Martine and Atewo and are 4-2 up a break and serving to make it 5-2 in the second set. No one see them progress.
Pretty interesting game for the Republic of Ireland coming up.
Yeah, the Republic of Ireland women's side will face World Cup winners the United States next month. The friendly is going to be played at the Pasadena Rose Bowl, the venue for the 1994 World Cup final. It's going to take place on August the 3rd. Ireland, of course, though, currently without a manager after Colin Bell's departure to Huddersfield.
Is there any word on who's going to replace him?
Yes, it is not more than likely. It's been rumoured that the guy who's in charge of the colleges side in Naples at the university games, whose name escapes me at the moment.
They reached the semis, didn't they?
Dave Connell, yes.
Connell, yeah.
He actually made no secret. He was talking to Jamie on the League of Ireland podcast here, and he made no secret of the fact that he wants the gig. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The Inverdale comments on Bartley are shocking, actually.
I really wish we didn't delve here. It's going to ruin everything.
This could ruin it for you.
I've barely gotten over them, Joe.
Yeah, no, they're actually bad.
Now leave it, sure, it's ages ago.
It's late.
Give him a break.
Let dead dogs lie, Joe.
Say it or not? JP saying say it.
JP just hates Inverdale. That's what he wants to do. Stop ruining Inverdale.
He's trying to have a chat here, and he's like, I just wonder, talking about Marion Bartley, I just wonder if her dad, because he was obviously the most influential person in her life, did say to her when she was 12 or 13 or maybe 14, listen, you're never going to be, a looker. You're never going to be somebody like Sharapova. You're never going to be 5'11". You're not going to have long legs. So you have to compensate for that. You're going to have to be the most dogged, determined fighter anyone's ever seen on a tennis court if you're going to make it. And she kind of is. Yes,
was this
John, maybe.
Was it just part of a live discussion?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're just chewing the fat after a brilliant Bartley win.
Right.
He's talking to the pundits.
Yeah, that's a bit Partridge.
There's no forgiving that, really. That's very Partridge.
That's out there.
It's the fact that he's put a whole hypothetical conversation.
See Tyrone had their Partridge moment.
What's that?
Tyrone footballers had their Partridge moment.
We saw that, yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
The bus yesterday.
Yeah, on when did they play Cavan? Saturday?
Come out, you black and tans. You did it for
Tyrone football.
Yeah.
I thought you said Taiwan. And I was like, what are the Taiwan footballers doing?
No, Tyrone.
And there's Martin Brennan. We've covered this before.
So Croke Park for the ladies' semi-finals as well.
Yeah, for the first time ever this year, the semi-finals of the All-Ireland Ladies Football Championship will be played at HQ. They're going to be played as a double header on Sunday, August 25th. Meanwhile, the manager of the All-Ireland champions Dublin has called for the provincial championships to be scrapped. The Dubs won an 8th successive Leinster title with a 4-11 to 1-7 win over Westmeath at the end of last month in what is their only game before the All-Ireland series, and Mick Bowen feels something has to change.
Takes from the provincial system. Said it last year and I say it again this year. I don't think that it's fit for purpose anymore, whereas, particularly in Connacht and Leinster, it doesn't make sense. So, look, that's something the organisation themselves need to have a look at, but there has to be a better system.
You don't get the men's manager saying that. It's interesting, a Dublin manager saying that, though, isn't it? Because they're like
I think if
Jim Gavin, etc., they always talk up and say, no, it still means a huge deal to us to win Leinster.
If you look at the way it's set out, like it's essentially a one-game championship for them to come into the All-Ireland series.
For the women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's under 21 action too.
There is. Jake Morris and Jerome Cahill, senior stars both, there in the Tipperary side for tonight's Borgosh Energy Munster under 21 hurling semi-final with Waterford throwing at Semple Stadium in around 8 minutes' time. Dublin face Wexford in the semi-finals of the Air Grid Leinster under 20 football championship, while Moore Park is the venue for the meeting of Meath and Laois. Celtic and Rangers both in European action this evening. Yes, the season is underway. There was a 6:45 start to Celtic's Champions League first qualifying round first leg. It's currently FK Sarajevo 1, Celtic 1. Michael Johnston cancelling out the opener for the hosts. Rangers, meanwhile, have 1 foot in the second qualifying round of the Europa League. Stephen Gerrard's side were 4-0 winners away to St Joseph's of Gibraltar.
John has texted in, he's not sure about John Inverdale's haircut. Look, he still has good hair for a man of an age.
Once you have hair at that age, I think you're doing all right.
Inverdale used to host a sports chat show called Offside or something like that, says Garrett.
That was actually really good.
Was that on 5 Live, I think?
No, he was on TV.
Oh, it was on TV.
He used to actually have a TV. I remember this distinctly. He had a nice set where somebody came on upstairs, walked behind the main set, came down and then sat beside him.
There's some of it on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. Garrett says he once had Niall Quinn on and persuaded him to sing Niall Quinn's Disco Pants.
Oh, yeah. I actually think I've seen that clip. Yeah.
And I'm not having this next text from Dermot in Limerick. Great to hear Kenny Cunningham gets the bus. Unfortunately, he turned like a bus at times.
That's harsh.
Dermot, no.
How many World Cups have you played in, Dermot?
Yeah, Dermot. How many World Cups?
Does Kenny have a lead card?
Yeah. Although, as he calls it, his bus pass.
I have a lead card.
It's not even his lead. I have a lead card too.
Okay, Cunningham.
It doesn't make you special.
Yeah. Sorry, how many World Cups have you played at? Kenny Cunningham.
Been to more than Kenny, though.
Well, he won't take a taxi even when we try and book him one.
Nah, John, no.
Yeah. We'll book you a taxi. He's like, I mean, it's easy getting the bus.
Yeah.
Not as easy getting the bus. You have to walk to the bus stop, all this stuff. But he does.
I think more people should use public transport.
Well,
always talking to David McWilliams uses it all the time. Talk to David about it.
Thanks, Leo.
And yeah. But one of the reasons is you can get a lot of work done. Particularly on trains. He travels a lot around the world. And
I get motion sickness. So
do
I can't.
You?
Yeah, if I read for 10 minutes, I'm gone.
Okay.
So, but I take your wider point.
That's it. A very quick digression. I'm trying to tell this quickly, but I went I got the train to Sligo last week to meet Declan Bonner to do an
it's
interview.
Expensive, the train.
It is expensive, but I got a lot of work done because I got 6 hours basically there and back, so you get a lot done. But I was just talking to Declan about his last time as Donegal manager, which was the late 90s. I was just, this wasn't part of the interview, but we're just, I remember the 1998 Ulster final. Derry beat them right at the end with a Joe Brawley goal. And I went down to get the quotes, and at the time I was of a similar age to a lot of the players. I knew a couple of them were where I'm from, Noel Hegarty and John Joe Doherty, and I would know Tony Boyle. And they said, come on, we're going for a pint in the Creighton Hotel across the road. So I said, well, I have to get my work done. So we went over there, and it was actually a bit of crack, even though they'd lost the game. And they said, come on back to Donegal Town, it'd be great laugh. And I said, no, I have to do my work. They said, you can work on the bus. So I went to the team bus up the front with a laptop trying to write their report. And I remember, like, Phyllis, they were all passing bottles of beer around. And James Ruan, the midfielder, I remember, was behind me and he was punching me in the back of the shoulder.
Right.
Like, so you can't write that, don't say anything about me. So you're thinking, like, what do you write?
Yeah, must read your report. Donegal robbed, says Kieran Cunningham.
But imagine a reporter being allowed in a team bus now.
Them nagging you to come with them.
Bonner was even... I think, well, not that he regretted it, but he just think, God, that's a different world. Like he got the job on his 32nd birthday.
Wow.
For the first time. Wow. So
that is a different world.
He was of an age with the players.
You won't be invited back on, Kieran, I'm afraid to say.
No.
Last story or two, Rich?
Yeah, Arsenal have appointed one of their Invincibles as their new technical director. Edu moves back to the Premier League club to take on a role working with the first team, the academy, scouting and recruitment departments. The Brazilian made 30 appearances during Arsenal's unbeaten Premier League season. He also worked with Unai Emery during his last season at Valencia. And Dundalk captain Brian Gartland has signed a new contract with the club. The centre-half will remain at Oriel Park until the end of the 2020 season. Dundalk, of course, playing host to FC Riga in the first leg of their Champions League first qualifying round tie tomorrow evening. Well, Bastien Héry has left Waterford for Linfield. The French midfielder spent a successful 18 months at the RSC and he departs for an undisclosed fee. Former Republic of Ireland underage striker Michael O'Connor moves the other way on loan. And Jay Rodriguez has returned to his former club Burnley. The striker moves back to Turf Moor from West Brom for an undisclosed fee, but it's believed to be worth £10 million. Rodriguez scored 41 goals in 129 appearances for Burnley after coming through their academy. He left the club in 2012 to join Southampton, scored 22 times for West Brom last season, and of course still has that one England cap to his name. And Elia Viviani claimed the fourth stage of the Tour de France today. The Italian won in a sprint into Nancy. Viviani's quick-step teammate Julian Alaphilippe retains the leader's yellow jersey. Nicolas Roche remains a minute down on Alaphilippe in 19th on general classification, while Dan Martin is a further 28 seconds back.
Lastly, we won't be hitting John Daly at Portrush.
No, he's withdrawn from the Open. The 1995 Claret Jug winner had a request to use a golf buggy turned down by the RNA. Daly used a cart to ferry himself around Bethpage Black for the first couple of rounds of the PGA Championship, and he has osteoarthritis in his right knee. He was also hospitalised with a spider bite last week. Daly's place in the Open instead will go to Kevin Streelman.
That's right. You can't be getting a buggy around.
He's got a knee problem.
Nah, you can't. You can't.
Brave spider to bite John Daly.
All this week, we have teamed up with
libel spider.
UEFA. We're giving you a chance to win a brilliant prize. So every night you can win a pair of tickets to Republic of Ireland against Switzerland on the 5th of September for Euro 2020 qualification. And then you'll go into the end of week draw for a prize, which includes 2 pairs of UEFA Euro 2020 tickets to a group game in Dublin, 2 nights accommodation in a 4-star hotel, €500 spending money, and a Republic of Ireland jersey signed by the full team. To be in with the chance of winning, just identify our mystery voice who says his dream chocolate bar would be a king-size version of an old Cadbury favourite.
Big. It's a big boost. Big. It's a big boost.
Do we know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what that is?
I recognise the voice.
Oh, well, one more then. One more.
Big. It's a big boost.
Is it someone that's on the show?
No.
Never
Is
it for like one long boost or like the fun pack where you get like 2 kind of mini ones?
A big one.
Where's he from roughly? What
Big.
geographical
It's a
area?
big boost.
Ooh, I don't know if we're going to take any clues. It's a good
we're not
prize.
giving clues on that.
Let's let people get it. He's very, very, very famous in the world of football. Last one.
Big. It's a big boost.
So we're done. If you know it, you got it. We'll tell you during the ad break.
Okay.
Text your name and answer 53106 for 30 cents. We'll announce the winner at the end of the show. It sounds like if you get the right answer, you're in with a chance here. All with thanks to UEFA. They want to promote the fact that right now football fans have their best chance to secure their tickets for Euro 2020 by applying for tickets at euro2020.com/tickets before this Friday. There are Category 1 and 2 tickets available. Time running out, obviously. Short break. We have, really happy to say, Tommy Welch and Sean O'Halpine on the radio together talking about the rivalry that was Kilkenny Cork at the turn of the century. And up next, before that, Tim Vickery, the brilliant Tim Vickery, with us talking Copa America and Neymar leading PSG.
Off the Ball on Newstalk.
Brought to you by Avantcard, powered by MasterCard.
Get cash back on your everyday spend with the Avantcard Reward Plus credit card. Avantcard DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Dishwashers, washing machines, tumble dryers. If it's got a plug and it goes in your kitchen or utility, then the chances are Appliances Delivered can deliver it nationwide. But it's not all about the fridge freezers, you know. Oh no, we also do the sexy stuff as well in our new technology section.